Welcome to the Lady Nighthawk Show, where we are now talking about very, very important topics, and we've been talking about them for years, okay? It just depends on where you live. Now, Donald, they have us out there on YouTube, okay? So we reach people outside of this area, okay? I wish you would go out there and start looking, because you can look at, and we are on all 3 shows out there on YouTube. I don't usually try to tell people that my shows are on YouTube, okay? Because I'm a studio person, right?
Okay.
But I'm asking you to go out there and look for the 3 shows that are on YouTube, okay, and start watching, and you can tell your family if it's information that we give to you that's important, that don't live here in Bowie, okay. Now you can tell them to go on YouTube and look for Lady Nighthawk, Let's Talk with Paula, or the Jeremiah Interdenominational Missionary Church Show, okay, because they're out there, because the information that we give a lot of times are not just for our area, they're nationwide. And so now you can go out there and you can look it up, and you can tell your cousin down in Florida, oh, you need to go out there and look on YouTube and see if you can see the Lady Nighthawk Show, or Let's Talk with Paula, or the Jeremiah Church Show.
Particularly when we talk about like veterans issues.
Yes.
We hit on like a number of subjects. So I know we're going to talk about specific issues tonight, and I won't give it away yet. But when you had the veterans come on, or even like during COVID, when you had the guy who was the boxing, the guy who was involved with the boxing and things of that nature. So yeah, so you hit on a number of subjects that can be national, international. Yes.
We do. We talk about a lot of things, but we try to be very, very subjective in the way we present things, so that we're not really objective. I'm sorry, not subjective. I'm sorry, I take it back. Objective. Objective. Just so that we're not saying that somebody can say that we're trying to tell people what to do or how to do it. We're trying to give you information that, like Attorney Bill said, with your veterans, disability, Medicare, Medicaid, voting. We hot on that voting thing, okay, every election. So we give out all kinds of information, and we have singers, dancers, we have hot topics, for different kinds of people that come on here, people that write books. In fact, I think one of his best shows, because he laughed at me, and that's why I say I think it might have been one of his best shows. I had a book writer that was on the show, right?
Okay.
And the subject that she was talking to was so dear to my heart as well as hers, that she wrote a book. And I started crying, and then she started crying. That's the first time, I guess, both me and the guest was crying at the same time, But it was a heartfelt, and I'm going to have her back. I just talked to her not too long ago. She wrote another book, and I'm going to have her back.
Paula, we also had the Bowie City Council lady on.
Oh yeah, yes, Wanda.
And she sung a beautiful song.
Yes.
I mean, it was unexpected, and she just
a cappella.
Yes. And she literally brought the house down.
Yes, she did.
Yes.
And so you can go back and look at that on YouTube, okay? Because it's sitting out there.
One of your own Bowie City Council ladies.
Yes, Wanda Rogers.
Yes, the newly elected Wanda Rogers. Yes.
Yeah, and you can, because she has a beautiful voice too, because we just took her off guard. It was not planned. We just said something to her, when you want to pray, and I said, do you sing? She says, oh, I can sing. So it was, anything that we do, this is one thing about this show, we don't use script. Okay, now if we try to make sure the dates are important, yeah, you might see us pull out a phone or or something, or put it in the credits or whatever. But we don't do script. We do fact on the spot. In fact, like Donald said, Attorney Bill said to you, before he came here tonight, I looked up such and such, okay? And that's the way we do. We try to present stuff to you, not script written, but I'm gonna tell you, if you understand where I'm coming from, we depend on the Holy Spirit, okay, to guide these shows. And it seems like we are on point. And we also stay abreast of what's going on in the world. And they direct the show. I mean, really. Have we ever used a script?
You know, we probably did during the early part with the veterans, but after that, after COVID, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But not me though.
No.
I never use a script.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the veterans, I guess it was important when we started with the veterans group was that the laws and things that were being paid, you
Exactly.
didn't want to be misquoted. So
Yes.
you did have to use script
Yeah.
then, okay? And then the people that we had on those shows was diverse because we had like 7 people, I think, on the show at one point.
Oh yeah, we
Then
would have quite a few people. We would have a round table.
Yes, and they were different. They had different titles. They
Yes.
did different things, and so we were giving you really down to earth, hard information that was factual, and we try to do that. Okay, but that's why I always say too that you go do your own fact checking. Okay, I know that the other night when I did watch the VP's thing. And you need to go back and fact check. CBS was the one that hosted this. I don't have any stock in CBS, okay? But they the ones that hosted it, and they fact checked, okay? And I when the show went off the air, they gave you where you could go and see who was saying what, okay?
Yes.
I'm telling you to go out there and look and see on the fact check because this is the first time they said in history that they have made it so that you cannot fact check while they're up there debating, okay? This is the only first time in history that they made it so you can't fact check on the spot. So what they had to do was have their fact checkers, but they couldn't say, let's fact check, So CBS did it a different way. They had their own fact checkers, and they have it out there that you can go out there and actually go out there and look at that. If you didn't watch the debate, you can go out there and check the facts on what the different things that people say, because the way they have it laid out, they say exactly what the person says, they have a video clip of what the person said, and then they tell you what the factual fact is, okay? Because I went to look so I could tell you, okay? But you need to fact check, and they said that somebody's questioned whether that's part of our democracy to make it so that you can't fact check a debate, and I think that that's going to be a big issue.
Well, I mean,
I'm talking about live so that people can hear what the facts were, like they did with the president's race. They fact checked it right away, and I think that's why they changed it for the VPs because
I think it's just all a matter of perspective, because in this day and age, and I guess with politics, there's a saying that says all is fair in love and love and war.
No.
And politics,
it's nothing.
So
gloves come off.
So yeah, that's what I'm saying. The gloves come off.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I think that the people have to sort of decide what's best. I live my life by wanting to know the facts and whatnot. But some people like the hyperbole and the boisterous sort of.
Yeah, but this VP one wasn't like that. It was very. In fact, it fooled everybody, okay? Because they thought that they were going to be able to go at gloves. That's why they said that they were going to shut their mics down if they were over talking to each other, okay? But what actually happened was that CBS, to be fair, and when I say fact check, I'm talking about factual things that they say. Okay, like numbers and who did what and how they voted and how they swayed it. When I say fact check, those are the issues that if they are blatantly telling lies, okay, they will check it to see whether or not what they said is true.
Okay.
And so when I looked at this the first time they ever did this, CBS made it so that you can go back and look at yourself. I don't have any stock in them, okay? You can go back and look at yourself and look at that debate and see what factual information was, who said what and who shot John. Is that what that's the only expression, right? You go look for yourself and see, because they have it 3 ways that they let you hear what the person say. They can have you can read, because everybody learns differently. Sometimes people read by listening. Some people do by reading, and so they did it so that they would touch different people. So they have it so you can hear it, you can read it, and then they tell you what the fact was, okay? And they're not trying to sway anybody. They're just going by what the person actually said. And then I want to get into the voting issue, because it was something that we left out that was I hadn't even thought about it, okay? Because this is something when you go vote, and it's very important that let's say that in our last show, we're going to go back. Let's start from there, and then I'll interject what it is, and we don't let me forget, okay?
Okay. So, things that we talked about previously, okay? Number one, if you want to do a mail-in ballot, the deadline to request that ballot is October 29th. You have to have that ballot returned by mail, and it has to be postmarked not later than November 5th. Okay, the registration deadline for walk-in voting or early voting is October 15th. It's very important because by the time this show comes out, it'll probably be a couple days before October 15th. So if you want to register by mail for to vote, if you're not registered, you have to register. The deadline to request a registration by mail is October 15th. In person and early voting is October 24th through the 31st, and the actual day that you will be voting is November 5th. Okay, so those are the deadlines, and it's very important that you pay attention to those deadlines, because if you are not registered to vote, then you may be denied access to a ballot to vote. And I think this is where I'll turn it back over to you, because you have some very important information to provide about if you go to vote
polls,
and you are not on that
register.
On the
street, yes.
Yeah.
Because if you notice, if you vote, they have a list. I know here in Maryland, they have a list of, they ask you for your ID, okay? So you have to have a valid ID. That's important, okay? So they ask you for your ID to make sure that you're the person they have on their paper for the address where you say you are. That's what Maryland does, okay? Now, if you get there, because we're telling people that you need to register to vote and to make sure that you are registered to vote already, okay? Because if you miss a couple of elections or something, you might be off the registration list.
Or if you moved.
Or if you moved, yes, you're off the registration list.
So let's say you were living in Montgomery County and you moved to Prince George's County. Okay, you may be on the rolls in Montgomery County, but you may not be on the rolls in Prince George's County.
Right, and that's very important.
Yeah.
It's very, very important.
Because you could literally have lived like 10 minutes away from where, and you're not, and you're trying to register, and you're trying to vote here in Prince George's County, but maybe you lived in Montgomery County or Charles County or something like that.
And that's an important point. It's very important. So you need to check and see whether or not they have your new address, so it's a valid registration.
Or DC. Because my office in Greenbelt, we're literally 10 miles away from DC. So, people are literally 10 minutes away from DC. So,
and not only that, I say the DMV, because the people of Virginia, depending on how close you are and where you live, you right on a line for some places and some things.
You can be down in southern Prince George's County, and you can be 5 minutes away from Arlington, Virginia, or Alexandria, or something like that. Yeah.
Now, the point that I want to bring up about that is that, one, I'm telling you now, the call, you can call. You don't even have to go. And the one in PG County is not that far, okay?
You can also do it online.
And you can do it online, but I'm gonna shut up. Yeah, you can do it online. I'm just not an online person, okay? That's only because I've been hacked, okay? And it's from some of the weirdest people that, that I get letters in the mail that's saying, oh yeah, our office, and would you get it 6 months later, and they tell you that, oh, well, we were hacked, okay? So I don't try to do anything in my personal business. I don't try to put it on online, but you can. You can do that. If you're an online person, that's what you do, okay? But you can call and see, and you can walk in. The voter registration place is very accessible. It's a street level. You can walk in. You can talk to those people. They're very good. I worked over there. The presidential election that we had, not this one, but the one before, and we had, and it was a true, factual our votes counted, okay, because we counted every vote. So you can't say that we missed a vote or whatever. We did everything that we were supposed to do. The ones that were mailed in, the ones that were for people that was in the military, you know, we made sure that every vote was counted. So I can vouch for PG County doing that presidential election, okay, and everyone after and before, okay, that they do it honestly, they do what they're supposed to do, and they make sure that every person's ballot counts, okay? Now, here's where the issue is. That let's say that you didn't do the registration like you were supposed to, and you go to the voting booth, over to the polls at the last minute, right? You get there and the people tell you, oh, I don't have you, because of what you said, Donald, they could have moved, okay, and they didn't change their address, right? But I have actually heard, and I think it's, I don't know how the training goes. I know how the polls, when you count ballots, the training goes, but I don't know what happens with the people that are sitting at the actual polling stations, you know, just places. But I've actually heard people that they said it wasn't on the list, that and the person was getting ready to leave, and the person that was helping them said to them, oh, well, wait a minute, I can help you, don't walk away, you got a valid ID, you know, so you can do a provisional ballot, okay? And that's very important, because a lot of people just walk away, and it depends on who it is that's sitting at that table, you know, that's making sure that you're there. They might tell you, they might not tell you. I don't know what they tell them to do, because I didn't do that, okay?
But there are also polling managers that are there as well. So,
but they stand. But if they down at the end of the table talking to somebody that's asking a question, they're not going to see what's going on with those 4 people or 3 people sitting at that desk.
But
okay.
I think it's important that the point that you just made, and I just want to go back and reiterate it. You mentioned a type of ballot that we have not talked about again. You said a provisional ballot.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and that will make your vote. They will check and make sure that everything is okay, and your vote it does count. Just don't walk away because somebody said, "Oh, I don't have you on my register," because they will check and see. Like he said, maybe you lived in Montgomery County, right, and you just moved in. You haven't had 30 days to change your address yet, but now the voting time has come up. Well, if you do the provisional, they'll check your information, and if it's what you tell them is true, it'll count. You know what I mean? So it's very important. Just don't walk away and let somebody just say, oh, you're not on the list, and you just walk away. Do not do that, because every vote counts. And we have not mentioned that about those provisional ballots before.
So you got the presidential election, you know, you have the senators, you know, you have the congressmen who are running, and then you have like the local, elections that are occurring right here in Prince George's County, right here.
For the
right
mayor,
here. Yes.
not the mayor. It's a Senate seat.
The county.
Executive is running for her and the governor, ex-governor Hogan.
But I believe the county council. I mean, there's some seats on the
I think it's
on
some
the
seats
county
on
council.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
1 or 2 votes could mean the difference between, you know, one candidate winning and another candidate winning. So that's why it's so important that the people here in Bowie, here in Prince George's County, get out and vote.
Yes, and you'd be surprised, because those signs just started popping up all over the place. So how many people are running for something in Bowie, okay? Because they didn't have signs out there. It was only maybe 1 or 2 candidates. The top two candidates had posters and things out there. But now if you go down 301, you see all these different people that you said, wow, where'd they come from? Like you said, there's council seats.
Well, it's expensive. It's expensive to do this type of stuff. So they typically put it out when people start paying attention.
Right.
And people began paying attention, like during the
presidential election.
During the election.
And governor or
close
mayor.
to the election. Yeah, typically about 30 days out, 45 days out, that's when people start really, really paying attention to what's going on.
And so now, you know, it's a, like he said, it's a number of people here in Bowie that are running, and you need to see. And I just love saying this, what I'm getting ready to say now, is because I didn't know when Bob Marley was singing "I Shot the Sheriff," I didn't know how important the sheriff was. Okay, and I say that because that's true. Okay, because I was, look, Bob, I was young when Bob Marley was out there singing. Okay, so And then you told me one day, oh no, the sheriff has a lot of power.
Yes.
Okay. And I didn't know that. And so I don't advocate anybody shooting anybody, but I didn't know that the sheriff had that much power, because I always wondered why Bob Marley was singing about shooting the sheriff. Okay. I said, why would he want to shoot the sheriff? Okay. But then later on the story came out and it tells you in the movie on what that was going about. But I didn't know that then. But you told me. And so it's a lot of things that people don't know that go on. That's why I always talk about Schoolhouse Rock, right? I don't have stock in it. I don't own anything. You know, so far them I was young when it first came out, so I didn't have nothing to do with them putting that on television, okay? But on Saturday mornings, my parents used to have us watch it, and then I had my children watch it. And it tells you about Congress, it tells you about bills, it tells you about laws, and it sings songs. So educators have found out that if you kind of sing songs, something that you want your children to remember, they will remember it. Not only your children, but old people too, okay? So it's kind of like a sing-song thing about Schoolhouse Rock. They still have those DVDs now, because they were on tapes, okay? But then they have them on DVDs that you can get them from any store, because you need to know what Congress does, okay? Just don't go vote for somebody that you've been voting for forever. You need to check their record. It's public access information. It's accessible to you. You can sit down at your computer, as you say, and go look for the public information. See whether or not what those people were doing 20 years ago that are still sitting in Congress or still sitting in the Senate seats, that people just go, and I know that for a fact because I talk to people all the time. They just vote for you. Say, who you gonna vote for? That's your, you don't have to tell anybody. That's your own personal, let me say that to you. It is your own privacy. You do not have to tell anybody who you voted for. If you want to tell it, you tell it, but you don't have to, okay? It's not a law that says that I have to tell somebody who I voted for. But I have seen people that, you know, I've talked to, I've asked them, oh, well, just to see whether they're going to answer. Who you voting for? And so-and-so and so-and-so. Oh, so-and-so, so-and-so, because they've been running for years. I always vote for them. And that's what brought to my attention that when we start talking about voting, to tell people to look this stuff up, because people do. They just vote habit. It's easy to go in there and just vote for whoever you've been voting for. You don't know whether or not their ideals or morals or what their issues that they're voting on, because, you know, we got Roe versus Wade. We had that on the books, and then there's off the books again. You know what I mean? So you don't know whether or not the person that you voted for, whether or not, where were they on that issue, you know, because they might have been sitting in there forever, but they might have changed their mind. So that's why I'm saying for you to go out and look up information for yourself. I cannot stress that enough. Don't listen to the commercials, and don't, because would you say the gloves are off? You know,
all's fair in love and war in politics.
In
right?
Politics, right?
Yeah.
And so everything you see on television is not true, okay? And when it comes to politics, like Attorney Bill said, you know, the gloves are off. I say what I supposed to say. In fact, one of the people that's running for one of these high elections said that when they were telling this big story about these group of people, and a news reporter asked him, well, did you know that, was that fact or not? And this person that's running for a high office said, well, I can lie. If that's going to get people to look, I might cannot have it exactly right, so go look it up. I can tell a lie if that's going to give people that's going to give me attention, you know. They had it on the news. That's what the other person said, you know what I'm saying? Well, that's why I'm saying for you to check yourself, because those people that live in that particular city, in that particular county, they have caught hell from that one comment that was made, okay? And so that's why I'm saying it's so important for you to look up stuff for yourself. Everything that you see on television, everything that you see on the internet when it comes to politics, what did you say, Donald?
Oh, all is fair in love, war, and politics, so yeah.
And the gloves come off, okay? And so you need to be a mindful, heartfelt researcher, okay, so that you can vote where you know is right for you, okay? And you need to look up the information. You got like maybe 5 days to look up whoever it is that you're thinking about voting for in one of the county races, you know, the city races or the national races. You got about 5 days, okay, to go look up, and see what those people have been doing. And stop just doing what's felt good or for habit, okay? Because maybe those people have been doing what they said they've been doing for the last 40 years. I take my hat off to them. I can say one that I know, but I can't say their name, okay? That they have done what they said because I do my research. So I know that they are a good person, and they aren't sitting in that seat. They've been sitting in that seat for a long time, okay? But I checked to see whether or not if their ideals and morals have changed, okay? And if they're voting for things and issues that are important to me and democracy, okay? So I'm saying to you guys that it's so important. And don't forget that when you go to these polls that, if you don't, before you get to the polls, make sure that you check and make sure that you have made certain that your voter's registration card, if it has not come, that's a key that you said, you need to call or go to, there, or go online. I'm not going to leave that out.
Yeah.
Or go online and see whether or not your voter, you still registered to vote. But new that we're telling you today is about the provisional ballot. Okay, yes. If they tell you you're not there because maybe you just moved, I want to say that again, and you just haven't had a chance to change, and it's very important for you to change that information because that's important when they start casting out stuff, you know what I mean, on where you live and the address that you use. Make sure that you be honest enough to say, if you hadn't had a chance to go change and you just moved over to another county from Montgomery to Howard or PG, then you need to call the voter registration people to ask them, what do I need to do, okay? They can tell you what's the best for you to do. If not, always you have an option to ask if they don't volunteer to you and they say you cannot vote and they don't offer you a provisional ballot, then you ask them, oh, excuse me, I want to do a provisional ballot, okay? Remember that word. Did I say it right?
Just have your ID with you.
You got to have your ID with you. Did I say it right? 'Cause, I killed the King's English, okay? It's provisional, right?
Yes.
Okay, so, yes. So make sure that you do that. And tell your friends, okay? Tell your friends, because everybody needs to know that, because they do not. I have been in the elections, and I might have heard one person tell somebody, and I've heard somebody didn't tell nobody nothing, okay? So you need to make sure you tell all your friends. I'm telling you, I'm asking you, not telling you, I'm sorry, I take the wrong word to use. I'm asking you, please, take a neighbor, take a group of people, get to church, get a bus, and take people that want to vote, if it's not at their church, okay? To get out there and take a friend with you to vote, okay? You yourself, take a family member. Make sure your family, talk to your family and ask them, are you registered to vote? Now, when they give you this rhetoric, they say, oh, I don't vote because I don't think they're this and that, but you need to tell them this is the most important election that they need to, if they're a minority, I don't care what color you are, if they're a minority, this is the most important election in their life, okay, that they actually need to make sure that they're registered to vote. So talk them in and take them there if they need to. With that, I'm going to have to say good night. Please check on your Medicare, okay, because that's open enrollment is due, and that's the last thing that we want to say, and we want to turn and say good night.
Good night.
Okay. And Medicare, check on it because open enrollment is October the 15th, okay? And you need to check on it, and you can call Medicare 24/7, okay? They can give you any kind of information you want, so you don't have to go somewhere else. You can do it from your home. But open enrollment is open too now, and you only have I think it's 20 days to do open enrollment. I don't think it's a whole 30 days. It don't sound like it anyway. For you to make sure that you can choose your, whether or not you want to do this advantage thing or whether you want to keep the Medicare that you've had all your life, you need to check on that. I'm telling you. Everything that sounds good, not always good. Isn't that another old expression? Okay. So everything that sounds good is not always good. So you better check and see whether it works for you, and good night.